Hi, good afternoon, everyone. A warm welcome to all of you on the YouTube channel of BYJU'S Exam Prep. I am Gaurav Gupta, and today we are going to discuss, or I'll be telling you how to ace the logical reasoning section of IPMAT Rohtak examination. So, friends, warm welcome to all of you. Now, before I'll start this session, before we'll get into this session, I'll quickly tell you basically what will be the agenda of this entire session. Okay, so first of all, I'll be throwing some light for a few minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, on the selection procedure, different stages in which the selection will be happening in IM Rohtak IPM program. Then since we are talking about logical reasoning, how to ace this logical reasoning section, so I'll start with discussing the number of questions that we have seen in the previous year papers of this examination. Then the entire structure of logical reasoning section, the different types of questions that we have seen and we are expected to see in LR section of IPMAT Rohtak examination. Then we'll be talking about some of the special features of logical reasoning section as compared with the other sections. All right. And then I'll give you a proper prep plan in 3 different stages. So what all you need to do starting today till the date of your examination. So this will be the entire agenda for our today's session. All right. So friends, let's begin with this. All right. So quickly talking about the selection procedure, the stage 1 online registration, which is already over. So the registration was open up till 2nd May 2022. Okay, and the registration for this examination is already over. So now let's come to the next important stage, stage 2, which is IPMAT, IPM aptitude test. Now, friends, all of you must be knowing that this particular examination is going to be conducted on 26th of June 2022. It will be a 2-hour examination. It will start at 2 p.m. and it will get over at 4 p.m. Now, talking about the structure of this examination, the entire structure. So we can say that this year, this examination will be divided in 3 different sections. The first section will be quantitative ability, that will have 40 questions and it will have a sectional time limit of 40 minutes. The second section will be logical reasoning, for which all of us are here in this session today. So second section is logical reasoning. Again, the number of questions will be 40 and 40 minutes of sectional time limit will also be applicable for this particular section. The third section will be verbal ability, again having 40 questions and again a sectional time limit of 40 minutes. Now, as far as marking scheme is concerned, every correct response from your side will fetch you 4 marks. Yes, there is a negative marking of -1 for each wrong answer. And if you don't attempt any question, then you will not gain, you will not lose anything. All right. Also, it is important to know that all the questions that will appear in this paper will be multiple choice questions. All right. Okay. So friends, all of you, those who have joined just now, welcome all of you to this session. And here in this session, I'm going to discuss how to ace the logical reasoning section of IPMAT Rohtak examination. So this was the stage 2, which is uh, integrated program in management aptitude test, IPMAT we call it. All right, and this will have 3 sections this year and a total of 120 questions to be finished in 120 minutes. Now talking about the stage 3, which is the online personal interview. So the interview is going to happen in an online mode. All right, because you all understand the restrictions that we have because of COVID. So the announcement of call for the online personal interviews will be done in the first week of July. So I can say that the examination which is expected to happen or which is going to happen on 26th of June, we are expecting the result of this particular examination by first week of July. And then only you will be getting the call for the online personal interview. Right now, the entire shortlisting for this online personal interview will be based on your scores in IPM 80 examination. All right, so nothing else will contribute to like in securing the call from for the personal interview. Okay, so it will be solely on the basis of the written examination, right? Now the candidates during the personal interview will be judged on the basis of their academics. So yes, you can expect the questions from academics. You can also expect the questions of the general things which are happening around you, as well as your communication skills will play a major role in shortlisting based on the personal interview. All right. Now the interview may happen in the second week of July. So that means you will have around 10 to 15 days after your written examination to prepare for your personal interview. All right. So start preparing for personal interview right now, as general awareness will be an integral part of your personal interview, and you cannot work on your general awareness in a matter of 1 month or 1 week. All right. So it's better to start reading newspapers, to start having a feedback about what has happened in the last year. So start gathering information about all these things so that you are well prepared, like just before your personal interviews are going to happen, right? Okay, now let's move on to talking about what logical or how logical reasoning section has behaved over the previous years. Okay, now I have the data of last 3 years, definitely, because IPM Rohtak examination started in 2019 only. So in 2019, it was the first time IIM Rohtak conducted their own entrance test for IPM courses. All right. So in 2019, we have seen 40 questions in each of the sections, right? So obviously the number of questions in logical reasoning section were 40. Because of pandemic happened in 2019, 2020, we saw a scaled down version of the examination in 2020. So in 2020, there were only 20 questions in each of the sections, comprising of a total of 60 questions to be done in 60 minutes. But things were normalized in 2021, and again we saw the similar pattern that happened in 2019. So in 2021, yes, again we saw 40 questions in each of the sections. All right, and the entire paper comprised of 120 questions to be done in 120 minutes, the way the exam is happening this year. Okay, so again we are back to the normal conditions. Examination is happening online. All right, and we can see a total of 40 questions to be there in logical reasoning section. Okay, now let's talk about the entire structure of this examination. Not particularly this examination, but this section that we are talking about, logical reasoning. So let's have a look at what type of questions we can expect in logical reasoning section. Now I have divided the entire logical reasoning section in three different parts. So part number one is non-verbal reasoning. Now, non-verbal reasoning will have the questions which are in the form of abstract reasoning. There will be some figures that will be given to you, and upon folding or upon like opening these figures, the rotation of these figures, you will have to identify the correct answer. So in the last few years, the questions that we have seen coming from non-verbal reasoning were the questions on water images. So you will be given a figure, you will have to find its water image or its mirror image, right? So if I talk about water image, then I can say that you will have to reflect a particular figure, reflect a particular image with respect to the horizontal axis. Similarly, for mirror image, you will have to reflect it with respect to the vertical axis, right? So this is one thing that we have seen in the examinations, water images and the mirror images. Also, we have seen questions on arrangements, paper folding, and figure matrix. All right. So this was non-verbal reasoning part of logical reasoning. And out of 40 questions, you can expect, you can say that around 7 to 8 questions to be coming on non-verbal reasoning. So 7 to 8 questions is a good number. So it's I'll say advantageous. It's good to spend time on such questions, because this particular area is not at all very difficult. Okay, so you can get easy marks by just spending a few days on this area. All right. Now the next portion is verbal reasoning, or we call it as critical reasoning, where you find questions on statements, assumptions, course of action, like finding the inference out of a sentence, conclusion, and arguments. So these are different types of questions that you may find in verbal reasoning portion of logical reasoning. All right. Now from critical reasoning, I can say that you can find a good number of questions, and this number of questions may range from 8 to 10 questions, right? So we may expect out of these 40 questions of logical reasoning, we may expect around 8 to 10 questions coming from verbal reasoning or critical reasoning area, right? Now moving on to the third portion, which is analytical reasoning, and which is from which the majority of the questions will appear in logical reasoning section. So the number of questions, first of all, that you can expect from analytical reasoning may be somewhere around 20 to 25. Okay. Now there are huge number of topics that you will find in analytical reasoning. So starting from number and letter series, coding and decoding, logical sequence series. So these three areas, all right. So these three areas you can find around 4 to 5 questions coming in your examination. Now number and letter series, coding, decoding. Now all these questions, they have a similar kind of logic. So in number series, there will be a series of numbers that will be given to you. You will have to identify the pattern and you will have to determine the missing term after that. There may be some different type of questions which may come on number series, as in a number series will be given to you and you will have to find out one of the numbers which is wrongly placed. All right. So finding the wrong number or wrong letter in the series of given numbers or letters. All right. Coding, decoding, it's one very simple area wherein you will have to understand the dynamics of different types of codings. Okay, so for all these things, you can also download the app of BYJU'S Exam Prep, where you can also find some of the free sessions that are happening on most of these topics. All right. Now the next area is cubes and dices. So in cubes and dices, you may find questions on cutting of cubes. All right. You may find questions on rotation of dices, finding like which number will be opposite to a given particular number when a given particular dice is there in front of you. All right. Now there may be questions on Venn diagrams. So Venn diagrams ranging from a 2-set Venn diagram to a 3-set Venn diagram. All right. So these are some easy questions, and one important thing is the questions of Venn diagrams, they comes in a set of 2 or 3 questions, at least 2 or 3 questions, right? Then the questions on binary logics, independent questions on blood relations, questions on syllogisms, clocks and calendars, then the arrangement of data. So all these areas may appear in our examination. Now, in addition to these areas, we have some more areas which are based on family trees. So family trees is basically nothing but a blood relation kind of thing, in which you will have an entire family and you will have to arrange it in the form of a tree. Okay, so generally we saw around 4 to 5 questions coming in one set of family tree, right? Now there can be questions on seating arrangements, where you are required to arrange or place people in a linear order or in a circular order. All right, again this type of questions will come in the set, right? Now logical connectives, sets, caselets, bar graphs, column charts, line charts, logical matching, some different type of number puzzles, data structures, data sufficiency. So these are different areas from which we have seen questions over the past 3 years coming in logical reasoning section. All right. So these are all the topics that we need to prepare. Now, again, I'll add one thing, that all these areas we have some knowledge about. Okay. So it will not take a lot of time for us to finish up with all these areas. So it's better for all of us to start our preparation on a lighter note from now onwards. Okay. So we have around 1.5 months for the examination to happen. And in this 1.5 months, yes, we can finish all these topics. So if I'll talk about only logical reasoning part, so even if you'll start today and start devoting 3 to 4 hours on daily basis on logical reasoning, you can finish the entire syllabus of logical reasoning in a matter of 10 to 12 days. Yes, believe me, you can finish the entire syllabus of logical reasoning in 10 to 12 days. Now, most of the topics are such that you will not require to spend more than 2 hours on each of these topics. Okay, so what you can do is you can start now, and there are plenty of areas for which you will require a good amount of practice before you enter the examination. Okay, so if you are not having a proper set of practice for all these questions, then it will be difficult, slightly difficult for all of you to perform good in the examination. All right. Okay, now friends, let's move ahead and let's understand what should be our prep plan. But before that, let's have a look at the special features of this logical reasoning section. After which I'll tell you what should be our prep plan, how should we move ahead in step-by-step manner to reach the highest level of preparation. Okay, now some special features are so this logical reasoning section of in this examination, we see only in IIM Rohtak examination, and we don't see this particular section in IIM Indore paper. Okay, so we can say that logical reasoning section is comparatively easier. Now, majority of students thinks that, I also believe that the logical reasoning section is comparatively easier as compared to all the other sections like quant or verbal. Okay, it is also very scoring. You don't have to put in a lot of hard work or a lot of efforts in order to prepare for this particular section, and you will gain more marks out of this. All right, also this exam has, like if I talk about IPM Rohtak, this exam has logical reasoning section, okay, whereas IPM does not have. Okay, so definitely this entire examination is easy. If I'll compare IIM Rohtak examination with IIM Indore examination, if you look at the entire structure of these two examinations, you will find that IPMAT IIM Rohtak is much easier as compared to IPMAT IIM Indore. The difficulty level of the questions of quant is also very different in these two examinations. Logical reasoning section makes IPM Rohtak much more easier as compared to Indore examination. Okay, fine. So we can compare like these two examination, and we'll find that getting into IIM Rohtak or cracking the examination of IIM Rohtak becomes much easier as compared to IIM Indore examination. Right? Hello Mayank, how are you? I hope you have started your preparation for this examination. In case you have something to ask in specific about your preparation, you can post it here and I'll be happy to answer your query. All right. Now let's move ahead and look at the preparation plan in different stages. Okay. Now friends, talking about preparation for anything, be it your studies, be it sports, or be it any other field, our preparation plan should be such that we should divide the entire problem or the entire thing in different stages. Okay, if we will directly jump onto the last stage or the highest level of difficulty, then in most of the cases I have found that the basics, the fundamental of the students are not clear. So it is very important to go into the depth of each and everything, start from the very basic thing and work on concepts, work on fundamentals before you go on to the next higher level of difficulty stage. All right, so I call the first stage, which is the build up stage. Now this stage is very important because it is the beginning of our preparation. All right, we also don't know much about the entire level of difficulty of examination. We don't know much about the entire syllabus, so it's always better to basically build up our concepts, the basics, and start with some of the easier topics. All right, so this is the very first stage of your preparation where you are not even aware about the fundamentals of logical reasoning. So it is very important to be aware about all the fundamentals that we need to apply in this particular section of our examination. Okay, so to a greater extent, we can say that this stage will act as the basis of all that you will be learning in different phases. Okay. So what I'll do is, what I'll advise all of you is to start off with a very basic topics. Now, out of all the topics that we have seen in analytical reasoning and in the other portions, I can say that we can start from very basic topics like number in letter series, coding, decoding, blood relations, direction senses, simple arrangements and grouping type of questions, some fundamentals of cubes and dices. All right. So these are very basic topics that we can start with. And these topics will help us in building our basics. All right. Now, if I talk about critical reasoning, so directly don't jump onto the questions of critical reasoning. Understand the structure of this entire section, understand the structure of this entire paper. All right. And then you will be able to understand what a statement is, what an argument is, how you can derive an inference out of a given statement, and so on and so forth. Now, Mayank, you are asking something, and Divyansh, you have also some questions. So wait. Uh, so Divyansh, you are asking, sir, in IPMAT, what is the level? Okay, so you are talking about the level of difficulty in IPMAT. Okay, so I'll tell you that. Mayank says, I'm good in logical reasoning. How to be best in this section? Okay, Divyansh, you're asking the questions again and again. What is the strategy for clocks and calendars? This section I found tougher. Okay, so I'll address to your questions one by one. Okay, so let me just take another 5 to 6 minutes and then I'll come back to these questions. All right, am I clear? Mayank and Divyansh, just give me few minutes. I'll complete these stages of learning, the stages of preparation, and then I'll come to this. Okay, so now when you are building your basics, do practice a lot of questions. Now, if you're not practicing questions, you are just looking at the logics, then you are not doing anything good to yourself. Okay. So it is important to practice some basic type of questions when you are in the learning phase of these concepts. So the level of difficulty of all these questions should be basic to medium, and directly don't jump onto the like the higher level of difficulty. All right. Also, when you are solving these questions, if you encounter some difficult question, if you encounter a question in which some different type of concept is used, if you encounter a new concept using which a question is solved, in any of these three cases, you must bookmark that particular question or that particular concept. Bookmark means just put a star on that question, put a circle on that question, or make a note of that particular concept somewhere in the formula copy. All right. Now, at the time of revision, this particular doing, doing this particular thing will definitely help you, because you will have a proper list of all the questions which are good, and you will also have all the concepts noted down in a separate notebook. Okay, so this is how you should be proceeding ahead, right? Now let's go to the next stage, which I call it as a reinforcement stage. Okay, now why I call it reinforcement? Because when you are done with your basics, that means like when you are done with the basics of all the chapters, then that means you have achieved 60 to 70%. You have covered 60 to 70% of your syllabus. Okay, so you must do a quick revision of the topics you have learned so far. In absence of a revision, you will forget each and everything. Believe me. Okay, because in such a small, in such a short span of time, you are learning so many things. So it becomes very easy for us to forget these things as well. All right. So if you are not revising, then you are not doing anything good to yourself. So make a cycle, make a proper cycle of the revision of these topics. Okay. Now you should revisit your notes. So the notes that you have already prepared earlier, the questions which you have circled, the questions which you have bookmarked, the concepts which you have noted down in a separate formula copy. So revisit all of them and ensure that you are able to recall all those concepts. If you are unable to recall anything, then make a point that you are going to revise it once again after 4 or 5 days. Okay. Now, after the review process, you might start working on reinforcing your basics and moving to higher level of difficulty questions, some complex concepts, some difficult questions. All right. And I can say that it will be the next stage where you can start solving some test papers as well. All right. So once the revision is over, then gradually, slowly, you can raise the level of difficulty and start moving towards solving some test papers for you. All right. So in this case, like since you have already practiced some basic level of questions on arrangements, groupings, right? So now what you can do is you can pick up some questions which will involve more than 2 or 3 logics. Like if I talk about arrangements, so there will be some questions on arrangements which will also have the concept of family tree. All right. So there will be two parallel things running together. So one will be, let's say there are 7 people. You want to arrange them in a circular order, okay, in a circular table. And there are some relationships between or among these people as well. All right. So it will be a mix of questions that you will get. Okay. So like I mentioned that practice questions from the past year papers and some of the books that you are using as a part of study material. So keep practicing papers from these. Now the final stages. Okay, so you have covered almost everything as far as concepts are concerned. Okay, so again the revision will be very important at this stage. The final stage of your preparation is all about revisiting and revising all you have learned so far. Okay, also make sure that you are not missing out on any potential question that might come in the examination. Okay, so that means at this stage you will have to ensure that you have covered each and everything. Now how you can do that? You can visit the papers of like previous year papers. You can visit the mock test series. Okay, so just look at each and every question, look at each and every part of the concept and make sure that you have not missed anything. Also at this time, all of you must be taking some mock papers. Now, one very important part that I tell each and every student is a mock paper, a mock test is incomplete without a proper analysis. So what generally happens is we take a mock, we get some good marks and we are happy with ourselves and we don't even care about doing a proper in-depth analysis of that mock paper. Now friends, why we are taking mock papers? We are not taking mock papers to check our score. We are taking mock papers to basically score in that mock paper, but also we are taking a mock paper in order to have an understanding of our weak areas. Okay, so if out of 40 questions of logical reasoning, you are easily able to finish off with 35 questions, then something should be there in your mind that should click that why I'm unable to attempt these 5 questions. Were they difficult? Were they not lying in my domain? Or I decided to choose them like I decided to leave them because I did not have a proper amount of time in the examination. Okay, so understand or reason out why you have left these 5 questions. In case you have left these 5 questions because of lack of time, then make sure that you are taking less amount of time on those 35 questions. All right, so that means you need to improve on those questions as well which you have attempted correctly. If you have taken 1.5 minutes on any question and using certain way you can reduce this time to 1 minute, then why not do that and attempt 1 or 2 more questions in the examination. All right, so make sure that you are following all these things. Okay, also take an ample number of sectional tests as well as full length test in this final stage because it will definitely help you in understanding your weak areas and will also help you in increasing your speed. Okay, analyze your test performance and redo all the questions that got incorrect during the examination. And this is what I meant by a proper analysis. Make sure you don't get into the habit of getting stuck at any question. Okay, so if in any examination you are wasting 2 minutes on a particular question, despite like if you attempt that question correctly or incorrectly, doesn't matter at all. But you are wasting 2 minutes or maybe 3 minutes on a particular question, then it is not a good habit. Okay, so try to set a threshold time for every question, after which you will have to come out of that question. You can always come back to that question if the time will permit, but if you'll waste 3 minutes, these wasted 3 minutes will never come back in this examination. All right. At last, I can say that you can keep your head clear and go to the examination hall to take the test in the calm state of mind. All right, friends. So that's it from my side. Now it's time to take on some of the questions asked by Mayank and Divyansh. So Divyansh, talking about GIPMAT examination, I can say that the level of difficulty, like I'm just comparing the level of difficulty. So right now I cannot tell you if it is easy or medium or high. So I'll take some reference to compare this examination with other examination. So the level of difficulty of GIPMAT is slightly below I am Indore, but slightly above I am Rohtak examination. All right. Now, Mayank, you're saying that you are good. Okay, so wait, I'll first of all look at all the questions asked by Divyansh. So, Divyansh, again, the same question has happened. Okay, so what is the syllabus or topics of logical reasoning which are repeated yearly? Okay, now Divyansh, since IPM Rohtak examination started from the year of 2019, so it gets very difficult to establish a particular pattern or anything like that about the questions which I can say that will come every year. Also, in these 3 years, we have seen the change in pattern twice. So from 2019, there were 40 questions. In 2020, there were only 20 questions in logical reasoning. Okay. Then in 2019, there were 40. 2020, there were 20 questions. And again, it changed in 2021 to 40 questions. Okay. So if you actually want to understand which type of questions are repeating, I would say that this will not be a good thing to do. Reason being, if we just focus on some of the important areas, then we tend to neglect the less important areas. And you never know that one or two question may come from these lesser important areas in this examination. So I don't want any of my student to be leaving any topic or to be taking more care about any of the particular topic. So to start your preparation, you should be taking all these topics in an equal sense. All right, this is what advice I can give you. What is the syllabus or topics? Okay, Divyansh, again the same question. All right, now Mayank, about you. What is the strategy of clocks and calendars? Mayank, strategy of studying any topic is basic. Like if I talk about questions of clocks, so first of all, you should be knowing what type of questions exist in the topic of clocks. So ranging from finding an angle when a time is given. Okay. So which particular technique you are using? Are you using a direct formula or are you using the concept of relative speeds? Okay. Then a question which are completely reverse of this, when the angle is given to you and you will have to find out the time. Then on clocks, there are some questions based on defective clocks as well. All right. So just look at all these areas in a proper way and make sure that you know the concept of all these things. Similarly, if I'll go to calendars, you will again find different types of questions. So a particular date and a day is given to you. You will have to find the day on any other date. So for that, which concept you are using? The concept of odd, finding odd days between any two particular days. And in both these areas, it is very important to make sure that you are reducing the amount of rough work that you are doing. Okay, so not only these areas, this is a very general statement that I'm making. So it is also always important to keep a check on the amount of rough work that we are doing and how are we handling our rough sheet. Okay, now this rough work makes very like big impact as far as the accuracy as well as the speed at which we are solving the examination. Okay, so get into the very depth of all these topics. You have asked specifically about clocks and calendars. So I'll say that these two areas are not that difficult, very easy to finish. So just take 2 or 3 hours on each of these areas, and I'm sure that you will be able to do good in these topics. Okay. And Mayank, what else you have asked? So you're good in logical reasoning, how to do best. So Mayank, again, don't leave any topic unattended. Okay, make sure that you are practicing all the questions of each and every area. And like I mentioned, in the reinforcement and the final stage, the revision part is very, very important. All right. So mine says my syllabus of LR is complete, but I do too much silly mistakes in mocks. Okay. Now, Mayank, one of the reasons why we make silly mistakes in mocks is probably we want to attempt more number of questions. So, Mayank, initially what you can do is you can compromise on your speed. Initially, you can compromise on your speed and make sure that your accuracy is increasing. Also, if you reduce your speed, that means, let's say if you're taking 1 minute to solve any particular question, now you're taking 1 minute 20 seconds. These 20 extra seconds will enable you to look at that question in a more careful way. Okay. Also, one more thing you can do is just try to make sure that your rough work does not look like a rough sheet. So try to do the rough work a little fairly. I'm not asking you to write each and every step for that, but still make sure that your rough work is neat and tidy. Your handwriting is good. This may be a reason of silly mistakes. Also, before you mark an answer for any question, let's say you have read a question, you have calculated each and everything, you are done with the solution, and now you are going to mark your answer. So just before marking the answer, read the last statement of the question and find out once again what actually they are asking. All right. Now that will enable you to reduce the number of silly errors that you are committing. All right. Okay, fine. So I hope I have answered to most of your queries. So friends, that is all from my side for the day. You can stay tuned on the YouTube channel of BYJU'S Exam Prep for more such videos, and you will find me regularly on this channel from now onwards. Now, some important set of information for all of you. So new course launch for BBA, IPM and HM 2023 comprehensive courses with the foundation module. The course has already been launched, and you can call at the number given here to inquire about this program and get yourself enrolled. Next thing is you can join a free mega workshop on how to clear CUET 2022 examinations. So we'll be telling you the tips and techniques to ace CUET 2022, and the session will be live on 15th of May at 7 p.m. So you must register for this session now. All right. So friends, thank you very much. I hope you like this session. We'll see you once again. Have a nice day. Bye bye.